Hi, this is Mrs. McTaggart. In this video, we are looking at the higher straight line topic, and we are now at the point that we are looking at special types of lines, and this one is for finding the equation of a median. Before you do this, you should already be familiar, hopefully, with the midpoint formula and basic equation of a straight line. So let's have a look at what a median is. So you already know the word median means middle, so that's really important to remember. This dotted line here is my median. It is a line that comes out from one of the corners of the triangle, and when it meets the opposite side, it meets it bang in the middle, and that is its only interesting fact. So the way, if you're asked to find the median of a line, it's really handy to always have a triangle drawn, and if there isn't a triangle, you draw your own. And so to find the equation of a straight line, remember you need two things. You need a point, you need a gradient, and then you can go get the equation. So I would urge you to try and adopt this kind of layout. It's really, really handy for helping you remember what you need to do. So the first thing we're going to do is find a point on it. Now, they would probably give you the coordinates of A, B and C. You would go find the midpoint. So you would find the midpoint M. Now, you could also use the coordinate A as well. So we could use the midpoint or coordinate A because both of them lie on my red line. Then you would find the gradient of the line A to M. And then you would use either of those two coordinates with that gradient, and you would plug it into the good old y minus b equals m bracket x minus a equation. So let's see this in action. So example 1, I've already got my point gradient equation written out, and I've got my coordinates all in the diagram here. We want the equation of the median from E. So that means there's a line coming from E, meeting the other side bang in the middle. So I'm just going to draw that on my diagram. So remember, for our point, we can either use coordinate E or we have use the midpoint, but we need to get the midpoint anyway for the gradient. So let's go find M. So to find M, you are going to use coordinate D, and I'm just going to write these again in the right place. Sometimes it's really easy to mess up and look at the wrong coordinates. So I'm going to just write them here again so that I'm looking here and not over back at the diagram. Okay, so I want the I want the midpoint of D to F. So we're going to do minus 4 plus 6, so add the x coordinates and half them. We're then going to do 1 plus 3, add the y coordinates and half them. Just watch, it's really easy to make daft mistakes here with your basic number work. So we're left with minus 4 plus 6, which is 2 over 2, and 4 over 2. This line isn't always necessary, but for my video it is. That simplifies to 1 and 2. So we are going to use the point 1, 2. And I'm just going to highlight this. This is what I kind of do in class. I highlight what coordinate we're going to use. Then we're going to do the gradient. So the gradient, remember, I'm trying to find the line E to M. So I'm going to find the gradient of E to M. So we're going to use point E, which is 2, 5, and M, which is 1, 2. Again, I'm just writing my coordinates out again so that I'm looking here and not over at the triangle. So my gradient will be subtract your y's, 2 minus 5. And subtract your x's, 1 minus 2, which gives us negative 3 over negative 1, which we know simplifies to simply positive 3. And again, I'm going to highlight that because this is, oh, no, it's not in highlighter. I'm going to highlight that because that is what I'm going to use in the equation. Right, so we're now ready to go do the equation of the line. So we're going to use y minus b equals m bracket x minus a. You are going to use the midpoint and the gradient that's already highlighted. So y minus 2 equals 3 bracket x minus 1. And once you get to there, this should be second nature from National 5. Multiply out the bracket. So 3x minus 3, take everything over. And it gives us 3x. That will become a plus 2. Onto the negative 3, which gives us negative 1. Now, your teacher might ask you to put your equation of a straight line in a slightly different order. It really doesn't matter. There are teachers that would leave this as y minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. There are people that will leave it as y minus 3x equals minus 1. They are all the same thing, and they were all the equivalent of full marks. I am just in the habit, I quite like it to be y equals, because I know there's something that comes after this, okay? Once you're asked the equation of median, you're actually normally asked the equation of something else, and then to find a point of intersection. So because I know where it's going, it's nice to maybe leave it in that format. Let's look at the second example. This time I haven't been given a triangle, so do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to draw my triangle. So I have a random triangle. It doesn't matter how you draw it. I know it's BCD. Let's read the question. It's looking for the median from D. So from D coming to the opposite side, there is my M. So I'm looking for the equation of this line here, M to D or D to M, whichever way around you want to think about it. So my little reminder for myself again is we're going to write out point, gradient, and equation, and I'll just write EQN for short. Right, the point will be our midpoint from my little triangle, so you know which coordinates to use. There's so many candidates we see use the wrong coordinates, but the triangle helps that we see if it's coming from D, we're finding the middle of B and C. So I'm going to write out my coordinates B and C, so I'm looking at them here. So -4, 7. So my midpoint will be 6 minus 4, half it. -7, add 7, and then half it, which gives me a median of 2 over 2, and, well, that's just 0 over 2. So my midpoint, or my midpoint is 1, 0. So there's my coordinate I'm going to go use in a second. So let's highlight that's what we're using. Then we're going to do our gradient. So the gradient we're looking for is gradient of M to D. So M is 1, 0. D is -1, 3. So our gradient is where am I getting the negative from? Is just 3 take away 0 and -1 take away 1. So my gradient is just 3 over -2. Which would be nicer to just write as -3 over 2. It's nice to bring the negative up to the top, particularly for when you come to do your subbing in to the equation of a straight line. So these are what I'm then going to use in my equation. I'm going to use the midpoint 1, 0 and the gradient -3 over 2. So we have, wrong colour pen, we have y minus b equals m bracket x minus a, which gives us y minus 0 is -3 over 2 bracket x minus 1. Multiply the left hand side by 2, so you have 2y equals -3x plus 3. Now in the last example I left it as y equals. In this one I'm just going to leave it as 2y equals. I don't want to be dividing by 2 and bringing in fractions right now. That is perfectly okay. Please remember what I said. Other teachers might rearrange that and leave the answer as possibly 3x plus 2y equals 3. It is the exact same. You do what suits you or what you have been shown by your teacher. Thanks for watching. I hope this has helped.